Walk into almost any office today, and you will see generative tools in nearly every corner of the workflow. The numbers reflect a total market saturation. 94% of marketing teams now use AI, and it has become a baseline requirement in Hollywood film production and global media. But widespread access is not the same as financial return. 81% of the teams using these tools have no measurement framework to determine if the investment is actually working. This gap creates a massive performance deficit. Because companies can't track their results, up to 70% of AI initiatives are currently falling short of their target ROI. The failure is structural. Teams are buying a collection of disconnected tools and expecting them to produce a unified result. This creates a choice between two paths. You can stay with ad hoc tooling, which is easy to start but produces no long-term value, or you can commit to systematic integration. That requires high setup friction, but it is the only way to drive down costs at scale. In 2026, simply having access to AI is no longer a competitive advantage. The winners are determined by the rigor of their underlying AI architecture. Consider the standard approach to content marketing. Most teams rely on level 1 manual prompting, where a human copy-pastes raw text from a chat interface into a document. The economics of this approach are poor. Once you account for the human time spent on briefing and manual editing, the effective cost sits between $50 and $150 per article. This creates a cycle of hidden costs. Brand voice drifts because the tool lacks persistent context, and staff spends hours on manual formatting and SEO structural checks. A Level 3 content engine replaces that manual work with a system. By wiring your brand core and strategy maps directly into the workflow, the system handles the research, formatting, and internal linking automatically. The performance shift is measurable. Your fully optimized cost per article drops to $50, and the consistent structural quality helps those posts reach page 1 of search results 2.3 times faster. Adopting an engine requires a trade-off. You must invest in heavy upfront planning to define your rules, and you must maintain human editorial oversight to ensure the system doesn't drift. Using AI as a shortcut produces disposable noise. Using it as a system produces compounding business assets. These rules for ROI apply even at the macro scale of Hollywood production. Major studios today are wiring platforms like Runway Gen 3 and NVIDIA Omniverse directly into their visual effects pipelines. This creates massive efficiency gains. Production costs drop by 40 to 60%, and rendering times that used to span weeks are now measured in hours. To unlock these savings, legacy workflows have to be demolished. You cannot achieve studio-grade results by plugging a real-time renderer into a traditional, manual schedule. The technology also reveals a human bottleneck. Advanced tools will underperform without highly trained operators who understand how to guide the models. This makes human change management as important as the technology itself. The investment in people must match the investment in compute power. At this scale, AI does not replace the workforce. It forces an upgrade of human operational skills to finally capture the efficiency the tools provide. For large enterprises and governments, the primary constraint is not speed, but risk management. This has led to the rise of sovereign AI, a model where an organization develops and controls its own infrastructure to ensure legal and operational authority over its data. Sovereignty creates strategic resilience. It ensures regulatory compliance and protects the organization from geopolitical supply shocks. This protection comes with a price. Sovereign solutions currently carry a 10 to 30% cost premium over global open market alternatives. There is also a significant time requirement. Migrating a large organization to a sovereign AI ecosystem typically takes 3 to 4 years. The delay isn't just technical. The bottleneck is the organizational work required to overhaul data readiness protocols and internal operating models. Achieving this level of control requires massive hardware investment and a dedicated team of AI risk engineers. The enterprise logic is simple. Pay a premium in capital and time today to ensure you own your capabilities tomorrow. To find your strategy, identify your primary business constraint. For a solo operator, the main constraints are raw budget and immediate survival. Your best move is to stick with connected tools. This keeps your cash flow protected and your overhead low while you build. The trade-off is capped growth. Since the tools are not a system, you have to invest your own time into creating rigid human procedures to maintain quality. For a scaling team, the primary constraint is output volume. You should move immediately to purpose-built engines that automate your workflows. This requires enduring a 30 to 60-day setup period. Without a brand core in place, increasing your output only increases the amount of noise you produce. For an enterprise optimizer, the constraints are security and market dominance. Identifying your specific constraint is the only way to choose the right architecture and close the ROI gap. When you combine 95% savings in content production with 60% savings in media pipelines, the ceiling for capital efficiency shifts. Analysts now project that the next wave of successful startups will reach $2 million in revenue per employee. Reaching that level of efficiency requires moving past fragmented workflows and adopting a rigid, interconnected system. AI forces us to be more ambitious. The long-term winners will not be the people with the best prompts, but the leaders who build the most rigorous systems.